Welcome to Tales from the Fandom, a podcast that brings a special guest out of the multiverse and straight to you. And now your host, David Ginsburg.
Hello everybody, this is David with Tales from the Fandom. I wanted to let everyone know that there's a content warning for this episode. We are talking about Season 5 of Outlander, and in this season there is graphic rape and sexual violence, and it is a discussion point that we talk about throughout the episode. So if this is something that you would not prefer to listen to, please just go ahead and stop the episode. But I wanted to put that out there before the episode got started. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Tales from the Fandom. In the start of this year, back in January, I was joined by Amanda as we talked about the upcoming Outlander Season 5. And the season is now finished, and I binged it with my wife in one day. And Amanda is back now to talk to me about Outlander Season 5. She finished it before I did, but I kind of remember most of it. It's only been like 2 weeks since I've seen it, but welcome back to the podcast, Amanda.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Oh, of course. I promised the listeners that you would be back after the season ended. We signed up for Stars one day during the free trial, and we're like, you know what? We're not doing anything on this Saturday. We're just gonna binge it all in one day.
You know what was my sad point for this season? When they released like the first episode on Valentine's Day, and I got so excited, but it had to be on the Stars app, and because I'm in Canada, I can't get the Stars app, so I had to wait for an additional 3 days or 4 days or 5 days or whatever it was, and it was so sad.
That is the thing. I used to live overseas for a time period, and it was like the time between getting shows sometimes, and this was before like apps were a thing, but it was like, I don't know how people can wait months for a show, let alone like 4 or 5 days now. It's cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah, I like being able to stream things now and just binge watch. It's really tough. I got it on PlayStation Store, so I had to wait until Mondays, and of course I work, so I had to wait until like Monday night before I could watch it, and it drove me insane.
Then you have to avoid all those spoilers.
Oh, and there are some weeks that I did not get to, but the good thing is like I read the book, so the spoilers weren't really much to me. There was like a couple things that I didn't see coming, but we'll talk about those later.
Absolutely. And we talked before the show, or before the last episode, we talked about what was possibly coming up, because you are a book reader and I am not. So you had laid down some things. And before we get into it, I want to ask you, how would you rate the season? Was this a good season? Like, was it strong? Was it something that you looked forward to every week, or was it more like, like, what were your thoughts on it?
I loved this season. I didn't I think it was because I came in with very low expectations, because I didn't like the book as much. Like I said the first time, like I loved the books when it was Scotland, but then the farther you get, it gets into the American history, and it has so many names I don't know, and I can't keep track of characters, and I started to struggle more and more and more with the reading. But this season surpassed my expectations. It's on par with season 2 now. The only reason season 2 might be a little better is because I loved the dresses, and I loved cosplaying the dresses from season 2, and there wasn't any for me standout gowns or costumes for this season. So the only thing that's tipping season 2 is my second favorite still. Ian is almost enough to tip it back in his favor.
For those who maybe are catching up or are listening to this episode and they're like, wait, how did I get on an Outlander episode? Outlander is the story of James Fraser and Claire, who comes from the future, and they get this life together, and they go from Scotland all the way to the Americas, and now they're settled in North Carolina, which is very interesting as a place because I used to live in North Carolina.
They still shoot in Scotland, so apparently North Carolina and Scotland are like very similar. Who
That
knew?
that is so wild, blowing my mind here. So this season is them or at the end of season 4, Jamie, because he had signed to get all this land in North Carolina from the governor, is expected to go after his best buddy Myrta, and that's pretty much like the line is the whole like lead up to the Revolutionary Wars and like the background, and this is kind of like setting the stage for it. And of course, a lot of interpersonal issues between the families, the characters, the people that they meet. Everyone that comes in contact with Jamie and Claire is destined for some kind of tragedy or issue to fall upon them.
They're the unluckiest couple in the world. I'm glad I don't have their luck.
It is definitely something. It's like they're just magnets to trouble.
Yeah, and every time you think they have things sorted out, it just plummets.
Now, you like the season. You said it was really good. I like the season too. We both enjoyed it. My wife is actually sitting across from me right now. Unfortunately, I don't have the capabilities to have her to join in, but I
have her.
But we both dug the season. There's a lot of good stuff about it, and it started really having a good build up to those last final episodes where you're like, oh my gosh. And I was even Facebook messaging you, and I said, we're at this episode, and they left me on a cliffhanger. Like, are you serious?
I felt that way a lot too with those cliffhangers this season. Some of them I didn't see. Like
Yeah.
the way they did the cliffhanger made me wonder if they were going to continue following the books or if they were going to, like, at one point in time, one of the episodes I watched, I actually watched it probably about like 8:00 at night, which for me is right now, it's very late for me to be up and watching things. And I remember texting my mother who's in Alberta. So she's an hour even later than me, and she goes to bed early. And I texted her like, what is this? What are they doing? They can't do this. That skips an entire book. Just so angry.
I want to let everybody know that if you are listening to this, there are going to be spoilers from this point on. My apologies to everyone that happened to stumble across this, but this is a review episode. We are going to be talking about Outlander season 5. So if you haven't watched all of it yet, go ahead and pause, come back to this episode when you finish, and we'll still be here. So all good. I have to say, I want to talk about characters, and you and I had talked about a specific character in our preview episode where you got me like hyped. You're like, young Ian. I hope we get to see young Ian.
Oh.
And I will say, you spoiled it for me when you were messaging me because we hadn't seen young Ian. You're like, oh yeah, how do you like young Ian? I'm like, I didn't bother responding because young Ian hadn't showed, like, he was the next episode where he shows up, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm happy he's back. But that I am so not only was I excited for him to come back, especially at the time that his character came back in the storyline of what was going on. I am so intrigued because they really didn't present a lot of like what happened with young Ian and the Mohawk, and they did not go into and like barely anything besides the fact that he is or was married. And I need more. Like, I need
biting my tongue totally because I'm gonna make my parents listen. Of course, I always do, and I don't want my dad to know what happens or happened. It's like, oh, but it's so good. So if Dad, like, skip a couple minutes when you're listening to this, young Ian was definitely married. I can confirm he was married. He had struggled with some things, which is like the reason why I love him is the struggle that him and his wife had. Because I felt it at a deep level when I was reading the books. And it heartbreaks. And I don't want to say much, but he went through a lot, and he has a lot of he took it upon himself very harshly, and he went through a really rough time. And it's going to be a while. I think he opens up next season about what happened to him. But everything that happened to him was on a very personal level with him and his wife. Those are the only bad things that happened. Oh, and there was like some other dude trying to steal his wife the entire time.
Yeah, when he showed up and like you got the dog with him and everything, and it's just his look is totally different, which I love seeing.
Oh, handsome. I'm in love with him.
Just I really enjoyed, not only did I enjoy like having young Ian back, but I felt he was a really good partner as far as being paired up with Roger, because Roger went through some stuff which with the cliffhanger I was like, really? Are they really going to, is that really Roger? Like I told first I was like, that's not Roger. He's just like knocked out somewhere. But
when
nope.
I saw that, I like, and I read the books and I knew he didn't die. But with that cliffhanger, with them coming up to him and how they ended it right there, I was like, and then how they didn't show him in the preview for the next one. I honestly thought they killed him off, and I was shocked. I was like, they literally, they can't kill him. Like, if they kill him, so much stuff that happens after this can't happen. And yeah, I was that was one of the things when I texted. That wasn't the episode that I texted my mom at like 9-10 at night, but it was a close one.
That was really just surprising. And then to see it happen repeatedly during Roger's flashbacks of him grabbing the rope and then how long he must have been hanging there, and like that whole storyline with him and being able to talk again, and Brianna, I just,
they really sped it up, which was what made me sad, because they like, I get that they had to have him have lines, especially, having someone on payroll for a show, you want to have them speaking lines. But it really made me upset with how they rushed it in the series. But I guess they did time jump 3 months.
Yeah, they time jumped a couple of times where I was like, okay, I get the time jump. I'm with it. I'm looking at the seasons changing, and I'm putting it 2 and 2 together that they must have jumped a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But he just, in the book, it goes so much deeper into his struggle and like why they caught him and why they decided to hang him. And it's such a like huge part of shaping him for who he is now and who he will continue to be. And the fact that they rushed it, like my mother and I both agreed, we were a little upset with how they rushed that part of his storyline, because it's so huge. Like, he's a singer and he gets hanged, and now like he can't sing. And one of the biggest things, like, for me, is going to be able to sing to my baby. Like, I'm already singing to my baby when I have to do singing. And just the thought of losing that is heart wrenching. And the fact that they just kind of skimmed over it to me was, oh, you're not giving this poor guy his his time to shine, because this is just a heart wrenching moment for him. Makes me really hope that they don't do that with young Ian next season when we find out his backstory.
I'm crossing my fingers for that. One of the things that I really connected with Roger on this season, and we joked about it for our preview episode, is if we found ourselves back in time, like, we wouldn't know what to do. And I'm really glad that they showed Roger's struggle with, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I don't hunt. I don't do this. And I did jokingly think, oh gosh, what if they did start like Mackenzie College and change the timeline? And then I start thinking about time travel. And if they start Mackenzie College, how does that mess up the future from where they are from? And does that affect them going back in time to become the people who they are? Then your eyes cross.
Yeah, you lost me at Mackenzie College.
They Roger toyed with the idea of going to
Oh,
be a teacher, and they joked about starting Mackenzie College. And I started thinking about, okay, they start that. Oh, Mackenzie College is now a thing, but then maybe Brianna doesn't go to her college; she goes to a different college because there's competition, and it just changes the whole future based on their actions in the past.
good old butterfly effect.
Yes, good old butterfly effect. Time travel at its best and worst.
Luckily, that didn't happen.
Now, who did you love this season? Who did you keep on, gears turning for Jamie and young Ian? Were there any standout characters that you were like, man, we just didn't get enough of you this time?
Of course, Ian. Can never have enough Ian. I love him. Last time we talked, I hated on Brianna. I think I said that she was my least favorite character, and said
Yeah.
I regret things that I said about her now. I found myself. I still don't love her, but I did not want to turn off the TV when she was on this season. So it's not that I love her, but I respect her more now. I still don't like her as a person, but at least I like the actress a little more, and I can stomach her, which is good. Missed a lot of Marcelly though, especially like I loved that moment that they gave her in the last episode where she got to murder.
Hmm.
She's turning into such a kick butt lady, and I'm really excited to see more of her next season. She's one of the ones where I've never paid attention to her, and that just made me love her. The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure in the books, it's not just her. There's another. Oh, it's been so long since I read the books. I put them aside for a bit. But there's another young girl that they use that Claire has as her assistant. And Marcelly isn't as much as assistant. She's kind of just popping out babies.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm liking that they have that as her role and that she's more involved in the day to day things. Um, I was surprised for a character that I didn't see a lot was the bugs. Like, do you even know who the bugs are from this season?
I don't recall them.
They are a huge part of next season. Huge. And they're supposed to be like Mrs. Bug is the one who helps run the household. Like,
Oh, yes. Go get Mrs. Bug or Mr. Bug, and yeah, I got
yeah,
you.
they're huge parts of the next book. And I'm just surprised they didn't give them as much yet. Like, they should have been building them up this season because next season they're huge. And this season they barely gave them any time, which was weird. But favorite still Ian. Love him. Can't get enough of him. Love seeing Marcelly at that last episode. Can't wait to see her next season.
I enjoyed, especially with Marcelly, getting like a little bit more of getting to know her and her character. I kind of felt bad for Fergus because he didn't seem to be around as much as he used to, and he's more like, hey, let's go round up some people, and he's part of the people, but you don't really see much of him.
He's not a big character in the books either. He's going to be less and less and less and less. I think eventually he phases out almost completely within the next two books. So, but however, Marcelly is getting a bigger role. Like, she's Claire's assistant right now. She got to show her strength in that last episode. So maybe they're going to keep them around. But yeah, Marcelly's definitely stealing his limelight right now.
We had two really big storylines that ran through the episode. The first one was, of course, Jamie being tasked as a landowner under the crown to go start a militia to hunt down the regulators, which were led by Myrta. The other one was the reappearance of Stephen Bonnet with Rihanna. and then that entanglement, which led to like some pretty wacky hijinks with Jocasta and her plantation. Um, how did you? I mean, I know you read the books, so good good interpretations from book to the TV show. Was it lacking? Were you surprised at all by any of the stuff that they put out there?
I actually forgot some of it. Like I thought when Ulysses, I completely forgot that Ulysses killed a man, like a white guy, and therefore had to run away from Jocasta, which is heartbreaking because like he's free. He wasn't living with Jocasta as a slave. Like he loves Jocasta. He wants to
Mm-hmm.
be with her, and now he has to leave her. I completely forgot that was in the book. So when that happened, I was shocked. I was like, "What? This can't happen!" I thought they were going to kill Jocasta. Like I was utterly thrown for a loop on that one. I can't even remember if it happened. My mom says it happened in the book, so it must have happened. It's just been so long I can't remember it. Yeah, I think they stayed pretty close to the books. They sped it up a little bit. Like when he kidnaps Bree, I didn't think that was gonna be for. I thought that was gonna be like the series end or the season end, but it wasn't. And then I was trying to remember when it happened in the books, and they all start to meld together after a while. So things definitely went a lot faster than I thought they were going to go.
Yeah, they definitely with that one, that storyline. But what caught me off guard was the whole, oh, you're going to try to lay claim to the plantation, and I was thinking he's going to do it. Like he's going to get away, and that he's going to just get the plantation in the end.
But then Ulysses ruins it all for him.
Yes,
So
thank goodness.
I was like, "Oh, look at that! He wants to be a father. Don't just want the money."
So creeptastic.
He's the one you just hate him so much. You think sometimes he's going to redeem himself in the episodes, and you're like, "Nope." You never know when they make it a series if like they're going to switch things like that. Like, oh, maybe they are going to make him a good guy, and then no.
And he was one of the two major deaths this season. Was finally excising Stephen Bonnet. And I did have a question that I had sent over to you. Is who do you got on the who is worse scale, Stephen Bonnet or Blackjack?
Talked to my parents, and all of us agree that Blackjack, he was just trying to terrible person, but you know what, he was just very in love and very infatuated with Jamie. um a little bit weird, but Stephen Bonnet is like one of those people that would, as my dad said, would sell his own grandmother for a profit. Like he's just evil. Blackjack just wanted to force his love upon you, and like hated himself because back then, of course, being gay was not like a thing you wanted to do or be or admit to. So he was just like trying to regress these urges, and I'm sure was like putting it on Jamie and being like, "You're the cause for these, and this is why I'm going to do that to you." So you could kind of see where his evilness came from. But with Bonnet, you're just like, you're just a prick. You're just a terrible person. There's no rhyme or reason to him. He's just terrible.
I was really happy that even though he was sentenced to death, and it showed it over time. And my wife was like, "Okay, he's going to get free. He's going to get free. Everyone's leaving. Everyone's leaving. He's going to escape. Someone's going to come rescue him and get him out of the predicament." And then, bam, dead.
Yep. He never. It's so funny, like his fear of drowning. I'm like, and then he ends up on a stake. So like, you almost wonder if he had the premonition that he was going to die from drowning.
I was happy that he got shot, and it showed it on camera, so that way you knew he was dead.
Yeah, because I guess last season everyone thought he was dead, and then of course he came back.
Surprise!
Surprise! You can't kill him, but he's dead now. He doesn't come back. Don't worry. He's not
That's
like
right.
Layla's Duncan, where you see her getting taken off to be burned, and then all of a sudden she's alive. Oh, poor misunderstood Gayla Duncan. She's also dead now. Don't worry.
Yes, also dead
Come back
now.
from beheading.
On the flip side of Stephen Bonnet, the other major death we had was ultimately
Oh,
Myrta, who I swore, I thought, I hoped, I was like, oh, they're gonna get back together, and it's gonna happen, and everything's gonna be good and right in the world, and just dies in Jamie's arms.
that I don't know if it was my preggy hormones or like what was happening, but I have not bawled that hard since watching the what's that Disney movie that just came out with the Disney Pixar, and they have like the brothers and they go on the quest.
Onward.
Onward. I have not cried that hard since Onward. Those are like my 2 times I have literally been full out sobbing uncontrollably. Is Onward and when Murtaugh died, because I did not see it coming. Because of course I didn't know what was going to happen with him because he was in the books, but he had to kind of go out of the way because the one who Jocasta marries, like she is supposed to love him. So maybe now they'll be able to have her love him, but I was devastated for Jamie and just everything. It was not good.
I just had so much hope because they're in that Myrta jumped over and saved Jamie from one of the guys from earlier in the season that he had let out, and Jamie had given that rousing pep talk to all his militia people beforehand, and you're like, yeah, you guys are doing good, you're gonna survive and make it, and
You're not
well,
going to kill your family.
yeah, Jamie's militia person did real good, making the shot, but dang if it wasn't Myrta.
Yeah, that was a hard death. That's probably been the hardest death of this series. I mean, I'm trying to think of who else has died this series, but that one was a hard one.
Speaking of random storylines, and I love how, we talk about how they're magnets for everything bad to happen in the world, that they suffer a biblical plague.
Yeah,
Biblical plague of locusts coming for their area in this season.
that
It
was
was
a random
mind-boggling.
one that I did not, I forgot all about that one. Like, that was so random. Like, oh my gosh, there's locusts? Like, what is this? And now I know what happens because I hear that the giant cicadas are coming back.
Yes.
So now we know what to do. I'm just gonna light fires all over my house, all over my yard. They won't land here.
Light the poop.
It's gonna be my new fear now is cicadas. But Outlander taught me how to deal with them. We're good.
That's right. You have learned how to deal with those flying bugs, so you can take care of them. They don't last long, so you'll be okay.
Thank goodness.
Let's see here. So on top of all of this stuff that's going on, we run into an issue again with Claire, because Claire is practicing medicine in a way that people are starting to catch on to, of what's all this? Like, what is Claire doing? Claire is saving people that should obviously be dead, or talking to people about how they should be handling their business. And not only does it attract some pretty unsavory attention near the end of the series, but we find out there is another time traveler.
Yes, I told you there's gonna not be time travel, but a time traveler.
And not just one, he was with a group of people who came back to save the Indians.
Yes. You don't get to see the rest of the time travelers, but that particular time traveler should come back.
Really?
Should. Well, he escapes. Like in the books, she specifically asks when they come and they say, is there is there anyone that like didn't do anything, anyone that you want to keep alive? She specifically mentions him as someone to save because she wants to talk to him. So when she says like all of them, to go kill all of them, like I was a little shocked because I was like, wait, we have our time traveler friend. Like, you want to talk to him, you don't want to kill him yet. But yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm 90% sure that he comes back. We'll
Okay.
get to see him hopefully next season.
I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute, what he's asking about Ringo, and I'm like, okay, time traveler. But then I felt so terrible because it's like, can you not be like brothers in arms or time traveler in arms and do the right thing? You clearly see what's going on.
Yeah, that whole episode too, just going on a tangent, was a lot different than in the books. Like in the books, well, of course, the whole 60s flashback didn't happen. Me and my mother are on opposite sides. I loved the 60s flashback in that book. I loved the little side thing of them like having dinner, and I love seeing Ian in his like war outfit, and I love seeing everyone in their 60s gear. It was a highlight for me. I loved it this season. But anyway, that's another tangent. What was I saying?
Time traveler.
So many tangents.
He didn't help her out
Oh
and
yeah.
knew like all the
Oh
bad
yeah.
stuff.
So the things that like she did in the books, like in the show, the whole reason why she went into that 60s flashback was so that they didn't have to show all the rapes, because she was raped multiple times that episode. And the funny thing about the book is, I think like I'm saying only once, which like once is more than anyone ever has to go through. But there's only one person that actually rapes her in the book. There's someone else who tries, and he ends up like not even being able to. He just finishes before he can even start. There's another one who wants to, but he's too old, and everyone else is too afraid of her to even touch her. So like in the book, they weren't lining up to have their shot at her. In the book, they were too afraid, or they literally couldn't. So it was just, to me, like a change that they've made in the show, and I don't know why they did it. Like, there's so much rape in Outlander, and it's such a reoccurring theme. They don't know why you would need to add more of it.
Yeah, that the final episode is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And if you're watching Outlander now, and you're of course you're listening to this, and we have now spoiled it, which I warned you.
We were.
But that was definitely an episode where I was really caught off guard, because you went through it with Blackjack,
Mhm.
and you went through it with Brianna. But dang, if I didn't like get into some kind of comfort zone of, okay,
Do it again.
life is relatively decent going forward at this point. They've dealt with most of the stuff. Claire is in her 50s at this point,
Yeah.
or yeah, about in her 50s. Like, I'm not thinking anything's really going to be bad with them, but because at the end of the second to last episode, I was like, okay, they're in a good spot. Like, this next episode is going to be like a wrap up episode before she gets kidnapped. I'm thinking this,
Yeah.
of course.
Then she gets kidnapped.
Like, this is going to be a wrap up episode. We're going to find out, like, maybe get some inklings of like the Revolutionary War and what's going to start happening. Oh no, like they got a whole new set of bad people that are all under the same last name. This is going to turn into like a clan war.
Yeah, the Browns, they don't go away. They continue to cause trouble. Well, the one guy, like the oldest Brown, like the leader, he, of course, hates Claire because she's telling women, empowering women to not get pregnant, and empowering women in every way she can. So, of course, like, as a manly men, then they should be obeyed, and everything man is going to hate her. Yeah, they're just so brutal. I don't know. I'm a little upset with how much rape they added in this series, or in this season, because it was not needed. I mean, having her at 50 being beat to the point of where she was beat, like, that's enough. You don't need to add like a line of men raping her.
Right.
Make what she like. Is it because you're trying to make it worse than what Jamie went, or you're like trying to make it worse than what Jamie went through, or worse than what Brianna went through, and you're saying, oh, if she gets raped like 20 times, that's obviously worse. So, now she has more baggage. Like, is that what they're going for? I don't know. It made me mad. I was like, come on, guys. We don't need this. We've already dealt with this subject. We've touched it. We've shown how people can have this happen to them and grow and get over it and overcome. We don't have to have it again. We really don't. But this should be the last time. If they add more rape into future seasons, it's just out of hand because there shouldn't be any more.
Yeah, I definitely was blown away by it, and it was definitely just it was just uncomfortable. Of course, that's your expected response is to be uncomfortable and kind of squicky and
Well, apparently that's why
just
they did the 60s part. Like I was listening to them talk to it and they wanted the 60s part because they wanted to take some of the glorification off of the rapes and like even the guys who were doing it to her, like the actual actors were uncomfortable and like apologizing to her for the things that they were pretending to do to her.
hmm
So like they knew that it was going to be rough. Maybe they just wanted shock value.
maybe. And I definitely fall on the side of like that 60s flashback or fantasy. There were times where I was not getting it. I was not getting what they were trying to put down. I was like, I'm very confused by this.
And yeah, I didn't understand a lot of it until I watched one of the behind the scenes thing and heard like the Outlander directors talking about some of the like hidden Easter eggs that they put in, like the painting on the wall that she's staring at is a painting of Fraser's Ridge. And the fact that she's waiting for the whole time, I'm like, well, where, if this is her escape, where's Brianna and Roger? And of course, it's because she doesn't know what's happening to them. Like, they can't be there. And that took me a while
hmm
to clue into. And there's like leaks happening. If you watch, like, there's a leak that springs, and it's like the little leaks in her psyche starting to develop. And there's like a lot of hidden stuff that if you don't listen to this behind the scenes thing, like I would have never known about it.
Okay. See, now I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that because that seems very like it seems very fascinating to get that insight into it, especially in an episode like that where they're going almost completely off of what Outlander has been to some very fantastical things that are happening in her mind.
Yeah, and they did that twice this season. Once with this one, and then the other one, of course, was a silent film flashbacks with Roger, which,
Yes.
oh, I get it. I get why they did it because Roger loves silent films. But I mean, they actually had to say that he loves silent films in that episode to make
Yes.
sense. So I don't like, they didn't need to do it. And it just annoyed me having the silent film flashbacks. Like one flashback scene to quickly go through it all, actually dive into the reason why he got hung and the details going up to his being hung. Because the whole reason is he sees that girl who is his great grandmother that he, of course, saved from being thrown
hmm
overboard. He hugs her. The guy sees her. He doesn't understand. He's pissed off that you're trying to steal my wife. Like, I feel like with the silent film, it kind of just became like a trope instead of an actual storyline that they could have delved deeper into. So the silent film flashback I didn't like. I wasn't a fan of that one. I liked the 60s one because it was cute. It was quirky. I did not like the silent film one because I hate reading things when I'm watching TV.
and meanwhile, my wife and I have the closed captions on so we can make sure that we're understanding everything that is said.
I'm not. I'm like a turn off the closed caption person. We had on our YouTube closed captions stuck on for the longest time, and it just distracts me because I love to read. So I like end up paying more attention to what they're saying on that instead of actually listening and watching.
So, speaking of Roger and Brianna and Claire not knowing what's going on, they find out that oh gosh, baby's name,
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. They find out that Jeremiah can go through the stones, it can hear the stones and everything. Good to go as a time traveler. They take the from what and here comes the plot thing that my wife told me about, and she's like, that's a plot thing. They take the 2 weeks to get up to the stones, right? And they attempt to time travel, and if they end up being back at the same place, young Ian is still hanging out there.
But I hated how they did that as a cliffhanger. And like when they look up and they're like, what the? Because that was one of the cliffhangers when I'm like, they that was the one where I thought they're skipping like 2 books. Like
Okay.
they're going way too far, way too fast, and I did not know what they were going to do for the rest of the series because of the time traveling. So that was the one where I called my mom at 10 o'clock at night. I think it was actually for her 10 at night. It was for me 9. Being like, what the heck just happened? Like they can't do this. Getting upset.
That was another shock to us, is that they did the whole thing, ended on the cliffhanger, and then it's like, oh, they haven't gone anywhere. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, if they're thinking of home, like this is the only home that they've really known together. I don't see where they would be going in the future. Like where would you be thinking your home is?
Yeah, home
I
is where your family is, and all their family. Like they don't have any family in the future. All their families in the past.
Exactly. But then our big plot point is they said it takes 2 weeks to get from Fraser's Ridge to these stones. And then they're magically back in time to go rescue Claire.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't like to think that far into things. Sometimes I just let it happen. Except
We have
the only time I haven't let something like go is with the DC universe and their movies. Their plot hole like things are so huge that even me as I try to ignore all the plot holes person, I can't ignore them.
not only that, but I mean, this is a show about time travel, so
You expect a
let's
little bit of time traveling to happen.
I do want to say that the rescue scene at the end, where all the Fraser men and the whole Fraser's Ridge people are like mounted up and they come to rescue Claire, like that action sequence, I really really dug it. I love seeing Ian with the tomahawk and
Yes,
everything that he's doing. I loved Roger actually shooting people, like, because I didn't think he'd actually do it, but
because of
he
his,
did.
yeah, he does. I well, I just you know me with young Ian, so getting to see him all done up did it for me that day. I'm like that creepy pregnant lady who just loves her young Ian, who's so many years younger than me. I don't even want to say it. I just love him so much. I follow him on Instagram, and I got to see him. It was before I watched the episode and watched him do the practicing for it, and then getting to see him like practice and see it in real life, or not in real life, but in the actual finalized film version was really cool. I liked having that little, "Aw, I watched you practice this" moment for when he actually does it.
For next season, for what's upcoming, like what should we be looking forward to? Because there's a couple things I'll lay out, and you can tell me
Mhm.
yes, no, without going into like
Too much
too much.
detail. Yeah, because
We
you're up there with my not wanting to spoil things. Like I don't want to spoil things for my dad.
yeah, I like seeing it as it unfolds.
Yeah,
So I've been trying to not click on like Wikipedia links about the books.
yeah, don't do it.
Um, so we've got like for the immediate concern, we've definitely got the Browns as an issue for the folk on Fraser's Ridge,
Yeah, they're
but
going to come back with a vengeance. They're going to have a
and
lot of trouble.
it keeps coming back to Claire and Jamie dying in a fire, and they definitely threw out that fire reference of, oh, he'll burn you in your house. Like that's like the Browns thing, apparently, is that they like to burn
Hmm.
things to the ground.
Hmm. The fire, there should be a fire next season. Of course, I'm not going to tell you the details.
Okay.
Yeah, the fire happens next season. It's going to be like one of the last thing that happens because I remember barely getting through the book because once again, I don't like these books right now. I'm sorry. I feel really bad because I do love the author and I do love the series, but I have a hard time sometimes getting through them. And this was the one that both my mother and I both had a rough time getting through was this upcoming season's book.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
it's going to definitely be the fire is going to happen.
okay, so I definitely feel Browns in the fire coming up. Jamie is done having to be under the crown, from as far as I can tell with their discussions on the final episodes. It's like, okay, Jamie's done having to repay his debt to the crown, which really leads me to believe that we're also on the doorsteps again of getting into the start of the Revolutionary War.
And honest, I could not even tell you if you're right on that one, because anytime it brought up any of the war stuff, like in the books, it has a lot. All the war stuff is put into letters back and forth between people.
Okay.
They confused me so much because I'm like, I don't know who these people are. I don't know these events that they're talking about. I skipped all of those letters. So there should be a big portion of next season where I don't see coming because I skipped so much. I also skipped William. Comes into the next book as well, like Jamie's son.
Okay.
He comes back into the next book. He should have actually came into this season, but he ended up not being in this season. Like, he should have been at the end, not in the end, the middle with Brianna. His storyline kind of weaves back in during the drowning of Stephen Bonnet, but they didn't do that. But anyway, he should be coming back next season as well. And once again, anytime his storyline came up, I skipped it because I have too many names, too many people to figure out. That's probably why I don't like the books, is because I didn't read all of it. Like, I really should go back and actually read it all. I'm not giving her a fair chance on these books.
Then two other storylines that pop out is, of course, young Ian's story and Time Travelers.
Yes. Young Ian should be opening up with his storyline to Brianna first, because of course he loves Brianna. So I think he's going to talk to her first. We'll find out, like, his was when it was his chapters and I got to read his stuff. I loved it. I loved reading about his past. So you'll definitely get to hear a lot more about his backstory this season, and I'm really excited to talk about his backstory next time, because it's something I'm intense about.
Okay.
Yeah. I was really hoping they were going to talk on it this season, because I keep talking about how my heart aches for him and I just want to talk about it with you, but can't yet. Another season.
Next season. We'll be right back in a year or so, depending on when they can start shooting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But no, I think they said that they finished a lot of the season before this started. So.
Oh, okay. Because I know that it's supposed to come out in 2021. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they filmed both seasons at once.
Ooh,
they were
okay.
flying over so many Canadian First Nations actors that they wanted to do it all at once.
Awesome. And of course, Time Travelers, you have laid the foundation that one should definitely be coming back, and there may be more lurking about.
Just the one. However,
okay.
There should be at the end of the next season some time traveling. And there is more. Of course, there's more babies. I'm surprised we got through this season with did Marsley actually give birth this season?
I thought she gave birth and then got pregnant again, because she was like, oh yeah, is like, okay, Marsley, baby, and then there's a time skip and she was pregnant again.
Yeah, she is. She's forever pregnant. Her and Fergus are gonna have, I think, one more kid, because this next kid, there's something big with the next child. Same as another character is gonna have another child, and once again, there's gonna be a huge something with that child. So both children that are going to get born next season are going to have some issues that we're going to have to deal with.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You're laying some interesting foundations. And I would be remiss, and I feel bad because I did not mention this character before. My wife, Michelle, who is sitting across from me, I can't see her because she's got a really big iMac screen in front of her. She loves Lord John Grey. That is her guy. When he comes on screen, it's that's who she's got.
Do you know that Lord John Grey has his entire own book series?
I don't think she knows that. I'll have to let her know.
Yeah, my husband started buying me the Lord John Grey book series because he didn't know which Outlander books I had, so he bought all of them. Well, he comes back with William's storyline. So it depends on if they introduce William, which I'm kind of hoping they don't. Because, like I said, I skipped all of his chapters in the books because I just don't care about him. I kind of wish he never existed because I hate the idea that Jamie slept with someone else. I can't get over it. So if they do what I want to do, which is ignore the existence of William and continue to do so, they will not bring him in. But Jamie finally did tell Brianna about the existence of her brother, so I'm sure they're going to bring him in again.
I did like how Jamie was just really upfront. Like, I didn't love the woman. It was just something that I did for them to do it, and he exists. Just really just straight up.
Yeah, sorry, I cheated on your mom. Thought she was, but I guess he didn't cheat on her. He thought she was gone for good.
Right.
Can't expect him to stay forever.
Oh my goodness. So on top of all of that, let's see here. I want to make sure I hit everything because, and we also have a quick thing. Claire has lost her needle, although now she has introduced the whole making her own needle and thing to like the people in town and crafting stuff. And I'm interested to see if that leads anywhere with her rumors about her continue.
Yeah, it was like last season, or was it this season that was her penicillin? When did she do penicillin?
It was this season was penicillin plus using the snake fang to do injections.
She is going to continue also to do more medical things that should not be existing in her timeline of what it is right now.
We both, my wife, because my wife is a nurse, we both were very shocked at like the blasé attitude of I'm going to do penicillin and we're going to figure out like which one is the correct one. It blew us away. Like, are you serious right now?
You mean I can grow my own penicillin? Why am I not doing this? I could be the most like healthy person in the world. Like penicillin. Pretty sure
I did feel bad for her flashback when she was talking about like the penicillin allergy and everything. I did feel bad for like that one patient that passed away, and I was like, no, and that's like what spurred her on to go to England with Bree and everything. But dang, like, is sad to see him go.
And that was something that I don't even think was in the book. So that was a cool add-on that they did as the reason why. I liked that little subplot that they randomly added in.
Yeah, they did. I feel like this season they had like the two real big storylines, and then they had a lot of subplots, like the two boys that they kind of like adopted ish.
Oh, the two boys! Oh my gosh! You just wait. Yeah, they're the most comical subplot coming up. I laughed. I laugh at them. They're hilarious. The situation that they're going to get in is hilarious. And I'm pretty sure it is the next book. It was one of the highlights of the next book.
Awesome. So we have a lot of good stuff we're looking forward to. If they continue with some of the plots, especially with like young Ian's story, I really hope gets a good chunk of time.
Yes, because I loved reading it. It was my favorite part of the books. I guess my favorite parts were reading young Ian's storyline and the two twin boys getting into their upcoming predicament.
Awesome. Well, I think we kind of covered everything, unless you can think of something that you want that's popped in or you want to talk about.
No, just I think we talked about it all with the fact that the bugs are also going to be huge plot points next season, but they haven't made it in yet, so we'll see. I mean, they're leaving it open. They're leaving a lot of gaps of characters that I think are important that they've left out. So it makes me wonder what they're going to change for next season because leaving out these huge characters for next season, but we'll see. I mean, Marcelly was pretty small character, and then this season she got like a huge, huge part.
She got the bump up to assistant.
Yeah, which actually she shouldn't even really be in the next series, but yeah, I like her. I'm happy.
Wonderful. So let's see here. Well, I believe next season should be out in 2021. So we've officially entered the Droughtlander stage of life, as it is called.
Yeah, I have had to make my own little. I love Animal Crossing. I know you play too. I made
Yep.
my own Outlander shrine in my Animal Crossing town, and then I made my island song, the do 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 do, and my husband changed it to the Jurassic Park theme now, so I'm a little upset with him. That was
Oh,
to get through.
we didn't even talk about that because last time we talked about Bear McCreary, I dug the introduction song this time. I really liked it.
I hate it. It's my least favorite one.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's like, and usually I love acapella singing, but I miss the bagpipes. And like last season, I loved it because the banjo. And I think it's just because
Yes.
I loved that banjo last season. So the fact that they took away the banjo, but season 5 soundtrack was just released this week. So I think it was like released on Monday. I haven't listened to it yet. I just love how Bear McCreary, like everyone has their own like theme song. And I love kind of hearing the songs repeat when you see a character and you're like, oh, there's their song. It's not as like in your face as Darth Vader's theme song, but it's like there. You go, it's like, oh, listen, it's like Bree's song, or oh, it's Roger's song.
Yep. I do enjoy that. And not only in Outlander, but in a lot of the different shows or movies now where like characters do get their music and then you hear like the refrain in the future. And it's like, okay, you get used to it. I dig it.
It's the cute little flashbacks. I also
That's
like
right.
that one of the songs that they used in season 1 was the you take the low road and I'll take the high road and I'll get to Scotland before you. They do like that song, but in like no words, of course. And then they did like that thing about the road least traveled by, the poem, and I was like, oh, that made me remember the Bear McCreary song and it made me happy. I mean, I don't think it's the same song, but in my mind, my crazy Amanda World mind, it was a cute little nod back to Bear McCreary. That's just because I love Bear McCreary. He did the music for God of War.
Okay.
My husband told me I can get on tangents about anything. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That is a-okay. Now, for people who have listened to this episode and they want to be like, who's this cool person? I want to go find them and see them on the internet. Any places that you'd like to shout out and be like, hey, come see me, come check me out?
You can see me in I'm currently pregnant, so I'm gonna give you, hopefully I will have I don't know when this is coming out, but I might have the baby by then. So you can come see me and my new motherhood on Anna Lee on Instagram. Or I also have my own princess business, so you can follow my princesses on Fairest Sky Parties on Instagram.
Awesome. And I will make sure to have all the links in those show notes, along with your original episode way back from 2017. So we're going on 3 years here. Episode 49. And then I'll also link to the Outlander preview that we did back in January. But Amanda, this is now we're gonna be in the drought now. And the next time that we talk, most likely for this next season, you will have your own bairn.
I will. You're gonna have to like fly out here because I'm not going down there with all the crocodiles and alligators that you're telling me about. So you can fly out to Vancouver and come see me and my baby.
Yes, that is if we dared ever to go on a cruise again, we do want to do an Alaskan cruise, and they do sail out of Vancouver, but
oh yeah, we're not letting anyone into Vancouver right now.
Yeah, there's no cruising in our future.
No. Well, there's definitely no cruising in my future. We had to like just ruin all of our plans, and now baby coming, so travel's going to be sparse for a little bit.
That's right. It's fun and exciting traveling with a baby.
And no Scottish names for the baby. I lost out on the fight.
Oh no, I was totally thinking you were gonna go get one of the get a name in there for the baby.
Well, I almost got Lachlan if it was going to be a boy, so I almost got that little Lachlan is a very like traditional Scottish name, but I lost on my girl name. I always wanted Skye, and from the Isle of Skye from Scotland, and nope, I lost it. And the Sky Boat song from Outlander didn't win, but I love our name that we have.
Well, I'm excited for you and for your family and for your Ferris Sky business and everything else. And if you're listening, go check it out. Support Amanda and her bunch of people that she's got working with her, because they do incredible stuff for kids and for the area. The area that you live in, which is like you told me last time, it's not like technically the Vancouver area.
Yeah, there's like Vancouver, and then the next like big thing is Surrey. And people are going to get mad because there's like Burnaby and New West and Coquitlam and Coquitlam and like all these little areas, but it's pretty much like Vancouver and Surrey is my area. And I'm in the Surrey area. But
awesome.
Funny enough, I think all of your sharing and supporting me, someone that you're friends with, I think actually did a birthday party with us online.
What?
Yeah, so shout out to them. Thank you.
I don't even know who that would be.
People found me, but they're from the eastern side of America. I didn't know the eastern side of America is huge, so they might not be connected to you at all. But I'm like, East Coast of America, and these people are from the East Coast of America, so I'm just assuming they're from you.
Well, that's awesome. I tried to do what I could for the people there, because I have a lot of people that are cosplayers that are they couldn't do their birthday party businesses. They couldn't do their conventions where they sell stuff, and is one of the things where I can't do much, but I can definitely share.
And you definitely helped. I think you definitely got me something, so thank you.
No problem. But that is it. We have now begun the Droughtlandish times.
No. Okay, I'm just going to go visit my Animal Crossing and touch the stones. Try to go forward in time.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/talesfromthefandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.